The markets are open.
People always ask, well, why should I bet on Monday? Because you have the perfect number in front of you.
And the numbers are moving.
We've seen this total go from 47 to 49, 49 and a half.
Now you're getting a field goal in a game that was sit and pick 'em for so long.
Let's dive into some Monday morning market moves on BetQL Daily, presented by BetMGM.
Joe O, Sammy P. Sam, let's look at the next round. 3 of these games on New Year's Day, 1 on New Year's Eve, and the New Year's Eve game is Penn State against Boise. It is, I see 10.5, 11, 11.5. Nittany Lions, the favorite. Higher total. A lot of these are pretty high into the 50s. 52 is the total. That is being bet down. I assume some people reacting to what they saw on Saturday. But what do you think about Penn State laying double digits?
Well, Penn State and Texas both, the books decided we are not going to get shortchanged here. We're going to open high and let them bet it up if they want to. And that's why they opened north of 10 and almost 2 touchdowns in the second game, which we'll talk about in a second. But no need, if you're a bookmaker, even if your true number is 7 or 7.5 or 8, what's the point? We just watched all of these double-digit dogs or near double-digit dogs get waxed. So, yeah, let's open 10.5 and let the market dictate where it goes from here. And to no surprise, circa at 11, a lot of juice 10.5s at a lot of places, including BetMGM. You can't open this short enough, right? Like, you can't open it sub 10 because they're going to just whack you to 10 and then you're going to get at 10. So, yeah, I understood it. Open 10.5, now 11. I kind of like Boise in the game, man. That's not going to be a popular take. I think they're much more balanced than people think. Every time you watch Boise State, it's Genty this and Genty that and run, run, run. They actually have a pretty decent passing attack. I like their coach. I like their defense. The move to the under makes sense. But I'll tell you what, with Boise and with Arizona State, if you're looking to back either dog, you probably just wait because the favorite money is going to keep climbing this number.
I mean, look, the interceptions happen. They were big plays, and you're going against that strong defense, but they go up 14-0 on pick sixes. You take that away, now we're talking about a 24-10 game. There was also another interception by Jennings where they were driving. This is very inflated. It's an inflated number, and it's probably going to come down to Penn State's defense against that rushing attack. And we still have James Franklin in play. It wasn't a close game, so there was no James Franklin attack here. But, yeah, I'm with you. But waiting is probably the play, right? Like, who's coming in on Boise this week? After all the favorites, as you mentioned, all blowouts, favorites all cover, and they're going to have in their mind about that scene there, but these are neutral site games now. Boise is probably, if you're Boise, you've been preparing for this game for a few weeks. It was a long shot that SMU was going to win that game. So I'm with you, man. That was my first look, but I'll probably wait. It wouldn't surprise me if we have Texas-like action where this continues to climb throughout the next, 10 days now.
I'm going to wait and take Boise. I'm not saying it's going to win, but that's my plan for that game. And we mentioned the total got decked down, 54.5 on the open, BetMGM 52.5, so a 2-point move there. And then we have some shops in Vegas and offshore at 52. So the sharp money early in this game, mostly on the under, and a little bit of sharp money to knock Penn State up to 11. But that will be a number that probably keeps climbing.
Okay, so Penn State, Boise State is the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. And then we get to New Year's Day. And the first game of the day, the largest point spread of this round. See, this is exactly what we were talking about all season. You want to be the 5. So Texas, a 13.5-point favorite in the first round. They are a 14-point favorite in the second round. BetMGM, it's still 13.5. One of the only 13.5s you can get out there. Texas, Arizona State, the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. That total is also 52. Not much movement in that game.
I was able to lay 13 early. I had one out that had 13 minus 115 on the open. Laid it right away, just knowing that I would probably beat the market. And here we are, 14 at so many shops. Now, BetMGM still has 13.5, minus 115. Where does this number close? Probably through 14. I mean, we're headed that way already, and this game isn't for, 8 days? January 1st.
Mm-hmm. Who's betting Arizona State?
How do you think they're going to bet this one over the next 8 days?
Yeah.
15,
right.
maybe 15.5. Do we get that high? I think it's very possible.
Yep.
If you're betting Texas, and people will ask us all the time, why are you talking about these games on the 23rd? It's not until the 1st. Because if you want to bet Texas, you should bet. There are multiple 13.5s right now. If you know you're going to bet them on the 1st, why wouldn't you lock it in now at a better number? We are literally telling you there are 2 13.5s available. One of them is at our title sponsor. By the time we get to kickoff, I would be stunned if there was anything under 14, put it that way. So just lay the 13.5 now and then see what happens.
If you know you're going to do it, I mean, if the money's in your account, just make the bet now. Why wake up after drinking all New Year's Eve and then when the number is 16? That would suck.
Oh, what a bad beat. I only won by 14. I needed to win by 16. Well, you could have laid 13.5 on Monday, December 23rd. We warned you.
Yep. No doubt. All right, we've got Ohio State, Oregon. Now we get to the good games on New Year's Day, and that's why they are going to be the later games on New Year's Day. Ohio State is favored by 2.5. We saw this in October. It came down to the very last second. It was an awesome game. Oregon wins at home 32-31, and this total is 54. But, the Ducks take out Ohio State in the regular season, but Ohio State is favored by nearly a field goal.
We can't bet against the witch, can we?
I'm not. So the question is, no, but honestly, I don't like the way that Oregon looked in the last month of the season. I don't love it. Even in the Big Ten championship game, they weren't all that impressive. And that Ohio State team looked pretty damn good that we saw. We know it's going to be a different atmosphere, but I get it. I understand why Ohio State's favored, but that's where all the money has gone. So I think we have to have the conversation now. Is this thing getting a 3? Because if it's getting a 3, like you mentioned, bet it now. Or is there going to be an Oregon flow of money? This is a different situation than the first 2 games we talked about where we can't see dog money coming in a lot. There could be dog money coming in here.
I know for a fact there are several people that would take 3 immediately on Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
They've already told me that. Give me a 3, I'm in. Numbers matter for these people, and +3 would be a huge bet for some people that I know. I imagine we get there eventually. We're 2.5 flat at most places. There's an offshore Chris, -2.5, -15. That's also where Bet Online is right now. So trending toward 3. Man, Ohio State almost went to Eugene and won. Joe, remember? Probably should have won that game. Now, you give Oregon credit for controlling home field and everything and protecting the house or whatever, those old Under Armour commercials. Protect this house! They did protect the house. Yet here we are in the second round of the college football playoff. The number 1 overall seed is an underdog. Think about that. Remember when we said the 1 and the 2 were not good places to be? How are the number 1 and number 2 teams either small dogs or small favorites? That tells you already how broken this playoff format is, where the number 1 overall seed is already a dog in round 2, and the number 2 overall seed is a very small 1.5-point favorite. Wild to me that Penn State and Texas have French doors to the semis, and Oregon and Georgia are going to be in freaking wars in round 2.
We kept saying it. You want to be the 5. You want to be the 5. And we talked about the path for Notre Dame. And the reason that we liked the path, it wasn't the matchup with Indiana, which we expected them to win. It was facing Georgia probably without their starting quarterback in the second round. And then it was all there for them. Notre Dame did open the favorite. They did. That's where the numbers had them, right? And then people came in and they bet Georgia immediately. By the time I looked, I was like thought out from the game, it was already Georgia's the favorite everywhere. So this flipped quickly. I like Notre Dame. I can't wait for this game. These last two games, New Year's Day, are going to be awesome.
I don't know that I'll add on because obviously I have a big position on Notre Dame at 10-1. I don't know that I need to add more, but I certainly need Notre Dame to win this game, put me in the semis, and then I can basically do whatever I want holding 10-1. One more win, and I'll be in a great spot.
I talked about it last week, but I ended up betting it. I also took Notre Dame to make the final at 4-1. I was surprised that number didn't move. It was 4-1 when they were 10-1 for the title, and then they get to 7-8-1, and it was still 4-1 for them to make the title. Like, that's why people were betting it, because they thought they could make the title. It wasn't necessarily they're going to win the championship play. It was the path. So I was surprised that number was still out there.
Riley Leonard, protect the football, run it with love, rely on your defense, and you can beat Georgia.